skies are green and glowing. Where my heart is, where my heart is, where the scented Luna flower is going, somewhere beyond the stars, beyond Antares. I'll be back, though it takes forever. Forever is just a day. Forever is just another journey. Tomorrow a stop along the way. Then let the years go fading. Where my heart is, where my heart is, where my love eternally is waiting, somewhere beyond the stars, beyond
Hello, Starfleet cadets. Welcome to your final exam. This is confidential, authorized Starfleet personnel only. The Kobiyashi Alternative, and it has an official Starfleet code on it for interactive text simulation. But you need an Apple II Plus, 2E, and 2C, because in 1985, those were the only Apples that existed. And the Mac, the early Macs. So here is your Kobiyashi Alternative from Simon & Schuster. And we have to thank these people, especially Diane Duane, for writing the story, and all these programmers. And it's dedicated to Greg Thometz. And Greg has become an admiral, commandant, Starfleet Academy, San Francisco, USNA, Earth, North America. To James T. Kirk, Admiral, Starfleet Command, commanding NCC 1701 Enterprise on active mission status via SFC Deneb. Scrambled, Captain Seal, hold for arrival. Here's your routing code. Advanced Cadet Evaluation Materials. Sir, you will be pleased to know that Starfleet Command has chosen the Enterprise's recovery of the USS Robert A. Heinlein during the second 5-year mission as the model for the new cadet performance evaluation exercise at Starfleet Academy, Earth, and SFA Deneb, supplementing the Kobayashi Maru scenario. SFA Vulcan is presently evaluating the supplement to see that it meets their logic standards. And Admiral Takayan's office assures me of a decision within several standard weeks. So what is a standard week? Yeah, because planets go around their stars at different rates. So how do you standardize all these exoplanet weeks? You have not only been the only commander to point out the Academy's urgent need for a subtler and more complex evaluation scenario than the one offered by the Maru. While administering the no-win scenario gives us good preliminary sense of who our potential heroes are, it leaves untested those qualities in a commander that are as important as heroism but less spectacular, namely observation, accurate evaluation, and multi-level synthesis, not to mention sheer endurance, empathy, and humor. And fighting would help too. The Enterprise's recovery mission scenario gives us ample opportunity to test for all of these in depth. And since the mission results were naturally never declassified, the effectiveness of the material as a means of testing the command aptitude and intelligence of new cadets should be very high indeed. Well, this really sounds Starfleety. I suspect that some of Fleet's eagerness to implement this new scenario has to do with the fact that during the past year, 3 more cadets have broken the old Kobiyashi Maru scenario, and only one of them used methods similar to yours. And that's from Star Trek 2009. This information is to be treated as confidential until further notice. Oops, sorry. Apparently, cadets are getting smarter, or perhaps the no-win scenarios of the past are no longer a sufficient match for the deviousness and resourcefulness of the present. Well, that's for sure. I mean, if adventure games had to be really hard because kids hacked them or whatever, yeah, Kirk hacked the Kobiyashi Maru. At any rate, we need to prepare our cadets for reality, not fantasy. Both the despair of the pure no-win scenario and the equally dangerous elation of the no-lose attitude lie mostly in the latter category. We look for good results from the new scenario, for it concerns the real-life gray area between those two attitudes. Ooh, are they talking about gray aliens? Administration methods will vary. The test may be conducted via sleep learning or in computer simulation. Yeah, and sleep learning, don't try it. You'll wake up in the middle of the night. SFA Earth will be administering it aboard the new training ship USS Sanssouci. I am enclosing a copy of the computer version for you to evaluate. Yeah, well, Star Trek, the original series, ran on mainframes with tapes, so it makes sense that they'd use an Apple IIe. Please feel free to make any suggestions you think will improve the usefulness of this scenario as a test for future starship captains. Sincerely, Admiral G. Stamets, not Stamets, Commandant, Starfleet Academy, Earth. And Paul Stamets is a real person, and look him up on Wikipedia. P.S. Let's see them cheat on this one, huh, Jim? Also, Eliaki sends her regards. Best, Greg. Oh, Jim, what you been doing? All right, here's your briefing. Transcript of Disc SFC SFA MK2 number 664658. Audio Sleep Learning Cadet Preparation Center. Authorized personnel only. All right, everybody go to sleep while you watch the rest of this video. Caution. Full Vulcan cadets should not take the direct experiential version of this briefing due to the presence of species idiosyncratic emotional reactions. Yeah, stay with logic. Emotions are just too complicated, people. All right. The communicator whistles right into your ear. The dream you were having about hiking in the Grand Canyon falls right out of your head as your eyes snap open. You lie there, staring at the ceiling for just long enough to let your heart rate slow down a little, then sit up and swing out of bed, hitting the communicator switch. Kirk here. This had better be good, Lieutenant. It may not be good, sir, says the dry voice of the duty communications officer, but it's important. Eyes only dispatch from Starfleet. You groan softly to yourself and sit up a little straighter. Just enough so you could reach the keyboard by the bed. It's an Apple IIe. You're going to have to stretch from your bed to hit that keyboard. And type in the long string of characters that will give the comm officer access to your command ciphers. Have the computer send it down here. Aye, aye, sir. You wait a few seconds. The communications officer wakes up your desk screen by remote, then switches off. Voice print, says the desk computer in Sam's voice. You say your name. Retinal, says the computer. You need a camera hooked up to your Apple IIe. You hold still and let the low-power laser flicker in your eye. Without further ceremony, the desk screen fills up with print, amber on black. Oh, nice, he's got an amber monitor. Wow. From SFC Earth via SFC Deneb. Urgent, urgent, urgent. Top secret. EFTO SC 937-0176 CEC. To James T. Kirk, Capt, commanding. From Nahorius Rehal, Admiral SFC Deneb, subject special mission orders. Text. It's a text field. This is a text file, Jason. USS Heinlein on exploratory mission in 145 Trianguli area has fallen out of communication under what we consider suspicious circumstances. Routine hourly telemetry squirts ceased without explanation 12 hours ago. Oh, I want a telemetry squirt. That looks fun. Appended to these orders is the contents of a single unscheduled squirt that came to us via an unusual routing dumped to a robot communications satellite near Gamma Trianguli, apparently by high-powered communications tachyon packet beam. Oh, look at that. They do packet switching by tachyons in subspace. You are to evaluate the contents of the telemetry squirt and proceed immediately at maximum warp to the Heinlein's last known position, which is indicated in the squirt. Well, maybe you're dreaming of electric sheep and you don't want to. Warning, Heinlein was pursuing a mission, the objectives of which are highly sensitive and have not yet been declassified for any personnel except those of SFC Earth Fleet Admiral's Office. This mission material will be available to you as soon as declassification procedures are complete. Address any inquiries to Starfleet Command Earth. Respectfully, NHS Rehal Admiral, Starfleet Command Deneb. You sag a little where you sit, letting out a worried sigh as the screen scrolls down and adds, P.S. Jim, stay out of trouble. You're going to be a long way from help. Best, Nahorius. Stop, you say to the screen as you get up and head for the closet to get into uniform. Damn, you think. Sulu has the Heinlein. What's he gotten himself into now?
No escape for you. You either leave this war bloodied, or with my blood on your swords.
Okay, so we were reading the book in the first section, and now this is the manual for the Kobiyashi Alternative Procedures Manual. So this is another official Starfleet Command document, Federation classified. So cadets, keep this under your belt. This is your briefing for all cadets, authorized personnel only, from 1986. Okay, purpose. Let's make it a little bigger. This briefing tells you how to use the computer simulation, gives you information. Okay, you got to learn how to use Apple floppy disks, and then you could search for Sulu. So they give you a trial mission to Orna that is helpful for getting started. But this is the missing manual that you need to learn how to communicate with aliens and how to command the Enterprise too. So page 27 has that, and then there are clues for each planet if you get stuck. So let's just scroll through this. You must decide where to lead your crew in order to search for Sulu. It's like searching for Spock. All right, so if you have an IBM, you boot DOS 2.0. If you have an Apple II, turn off your computer first. Yeah, just lose everything that you were working on. Turn it off. Insert the Kobiyashi in disk 1, side 1 up. This is a double-sided disk, Jason, so yeah, it's not going to preserve. But if you have a Commodore 64, you got to do load ST, 8, blah, blah, blah. Go 64. Okay, basic rules of communication. You can say, Spock, ahead, warp factor 5. Punctuation is optional. Let's see. Yeah, they'll respond. You could say, Kirk to Scotty, intercom. Yeah, to talk to people outside the room you're in. Starfleet approved verbal commands and queries. So that's what's nice about this. They've given you commands to help you. Set your coordinates, energize, beam us up, or beam me up, Scotty. Transporter, yeah, Deck 7th, the transporter. Computer, data, Orna. tricorder readings. So that's a good command to start. Get some data on Orna. And then all these other commands. McCoy, give me the phaser. Why? I don't think you should obey that order. Renner, take the tapes to the transporter. Scotty, fix the generator. But it'll take hours and hours. We only have 5 minutes, Scotty. Fix it. And fix that Apple II, because you have to hit Shift 1, Shift 2, and Shift 0 for utilities, or the star if you have a 2 Plus. Oh boy, bring back the old day. Or if you have a Macintosh. So the Macintosh version would be pretty cool to look at because it would help you out with menus. But you get an idea what this gives you. And phasers can be stun or kill. Make sure you set it on the proper setting. Tricorders are cool. They'll tell you about unseen characteristics of objects and aliens. Spock, scan the ornery. What? Scan the Orne. Okay. A native of Orna, assuming one is present. I love the way these are written with the parentheses. Some members of your landing. Okay. All right. You're commanding the Enterprise in this simulation, so you better know what you're doing. Your computer data. You can't just ask data for data. You have to ask computer for data. Lab analysis. Objects, you can analyze your objects, but you may bring back viruses from these planets. Here's Nyota Uhura, Chief of Communications. She's a Terran. Montgomery Scott, Pavel Chekhov, Teresa Renner, transporter technician. Okay. Who are these other people? Red shirts? Okay. Communicating with aliens. You may encounter strange new life forms on strange new worlds. Communication with these life forms may be difficult at times, but it's almost always worth the effort. And you may need to play music to communicate with them. Before you attempt communication, a few basic rules may facilitate your attempts to obtain information from these creatures. You don't just say, hello, how are you? You have to get information from them. The aliens of the Trianguli sector understand only a few phrases of Federation Basic. Is that integer basic or floating point AppleSoft Basic? Oh boy, a trader named Kagu Kikanamiku, pan-linguistic, multi-fragmented teachers of limited phraseology. Oh boy, from Hoshi in Star Trek Enterprise. Okay. Hello, who are you? I am. That's all. Okay, this is what we will try. A trial mission to Orna. The main simulation screen appears on your computer monitor. You are on the bridge of the Starship Enterprise. On the screen before you are 4 text windows. You have a main one, where you are, Deck 1 bridge, your status window, the Kirk window is your voice, and conversation. So Spock is asking your orders. And as you proceed, remember, you are Kirk. Type the statements as if you were Kirk, then press enter or return. The information on your screen should correspond to what you see in the briefing. Be sure to pay close attention to all 4 text windows. Not all of the information that appears on the screen is duplicated in the text of this briefing. All right, so we got to find Sulu and the Heinlein. So Kirk starts up his Apple IIc with that nice LCD flat panel that we saw in the movie 2010. And he sees this. From Starfleet Command, Earth, top secret to James T. Kirk, Captain. From Nahorius Rehal, Admirals SFC Deneb, subject disappearance of the USS Heinlein. Info regarding whereabouts of USS Heinlein may be on any of 10 known planets in Trianguli region. Contact sentient species to obtain information. Prime directive in full force. Damn. Area only partially charted. Review computer data prior to proceeding. Good luck and Godspeed. Hit any key. Okay, we don't just talk to the computer, we hit keys. Okay. Where's my any key? I'm trying. Okay, the disk drive's going. So this is a WAS image that I found from Paul Hagstrom's archive.org account. And hopefully this game will work better than previous versions we have seen. Okay, so we're on the bridge. Spock is asking us for orders, and here's our sector. And our engines are normal. Phasers are quarter. Torpedoes, we have 50 torpedoes. Okay. Computer. I can't just say it. Data. Now that'd be a fun voice recognition exercise. Orna. Let's warp the CPU. Computer data. Free traders report one intelligent species named Orne. They have a reputation as great tool makers. Last contact 1 standard year ago. The Orne were reported to be interested in electronic equipment and extracultural artifacts. End computer report. Computer data. Trianguli. Hey, this is slow. Planets. 145 trianguli region, and we have coordinates for each planet, so memorize this or take a screenshot. Hit any key to continue. Okay. End computer report. Spock. Make me coffee. What do I do for Spock here? Spock system scan. Spock system scan. Okay, the disk drive is running. That's what's taking the time here. Captain, we are out of range. Okay. Just walking through the walkthrough. Long range scan. Okay, so I'm still talking to Spock. Long range scan. Okay, Spock is in the disk drive. And Spock says, no systems within scanner range. Where are we? We're in the middle of the galaxy. We're in a black hole. All right, what do we do? Orbit the second planet. So we missed something. 26, 27. All right. Orbit the second planet. But Captain, we're in deep space. Let's go back to the manual. Okay, so what happened here? 27, 29. Where's page 28? Oh, I have to scroll. It's okay, so I've been skipping pages. I forgot these alien communication rules. Oh, have you seen the Klingons? Bad guys are everywhere. Oh, this is dated. From the movie. We don't have the newer movies. Or Worf, Deep Space Nine. All right, here's page 28. So this is the... Okay, here's where you start. As you begin the mission, you find the Enterprise has sustained major damage in flight with an unknown... Major damage in a fight or in flight with an unknown adversary. The crew is unable to make any of the necessary repairs. Oh, Scotty cannot repair it? Oh, before you can locate Sulu and the Heinlein, you must first get the Enterprise back in working order. Okay, so I don't know what I did wrong, but here is the walkthrough. So we get data on trianguli. We get the names of the planets. We saw that. Okay, you can get computer data on every one. So you could get data on Orna. And a computer report on Orna as the major inhabited planet of its system. And then you could get data on each other planet. It reports that the Orne once helped repair a stranded Starfleet vessel. Perhaps they can help you. So you ask for a system scan. It appears in the main text window. It tells you there are 6 planets in the Iota system. Long-range scan. Overview of Iota notes there is only one planet that is inhabited, the second planet. So you orbit the second planet. Standard orbit, sir. Renner tells you that the computer has located safe landing coordinates. So you could transport down.
When I was 16, I did indeed wind up traveling with Duke Ellington as a dancer for one of his suites. One day, we were almost at the end of the tour, and Mr. Ellington called me into his dressing room, and he says, sing something for me. And I looked around, I said, there's no piano. And he said, you don't need a piano. We can all sing. We all got rhythm, don't we? And so that was a challenge. And so I sang everything I heard the lead singer sing. And that was all his music. When I finished, he said, do you still have that little gold dress you wore before we left, the party we gave before we left? And I said, oh, yes, I even have the shoes, the gold shoes. He said, you're going to have to go on tonight. And I said, but and he said, the band singer fell deathly ill, very, very ill, and she had to go home. And I thought, this is my big chance. After I got through with the chills and the nervousness. And so I went on, and the great Duke Ellington is playing for me. You can't, it's like being on a cloud, floating on a cloud. You can do no wrong. And I found myself just loving it. And he finally came to me afterward. He said, you were wonderful, but please let that microphone go and be yourself. He says, she holds on to the microphone because she's so nervous. She'd fall down if she couldn't. That's why she holds on to the mic. Be yourself. And that's the best advice I ever got.